Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Evexia webinar series. Our topic for today is Multiply Your Impact in Less Time, How to Create and Sell High-Value Courses and Products for Maximum Profit. My name is Christopher Chu. I am the Director of Marketing for Evexia Diagnostics and will be your host. Today, I have the distinct pleasure of being joined by an exciting guest, Lesli Bitel, who will be our presenter for this webinar. Lesli is a sought-after business strategist and mentor specializing in guiding integrative and functional medicine professionals through the complexities of practice building. With a rich background as a highly trained dietitian and experience in the pharmaceutical and diagnostic testing industries, Lesli uniquely combines clinical expertise with business acumen. For over a decade, she has empowered practitioners to overcome business challenges, attract ideal clients, and diversify income streams for thriving practices. Lesli offers private coaching, classes, webinars, and more, dividing her time between Salida, Colorado, and Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Without further delay, I will now turn the webinar over to Lesli.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I want to welcome you to my new masterclass entitled Multiply Your Impact in Less Time, How to Create and Sell High-Value Courses and Products for Maximum Profit, specifically designed for functional medicine professionals. And my name is Lesli Bitel. I'm a business strategist and mentor for functional medicine practitioners and coaches who want to attract more clients, sell more programs, and grow a profitable private practice with multiple streams of income. And of course, that means adding not only one-on-one programs, but also potentially building out groups, online courses, and passive income products, which is, of course, our topic for today. I'll be sharing a little bit more about my journey and why this topic is so meaningful and why I'm so passionate about helping my clients and my students achieve these goals. But I'll be sharing a little bit more just momentarily. But in the meantime, you can learn more about my work if you wish by visiting me at leslibitel.com. All right, so before we jump into today's content that I have in store for you today, I just want to make sure you have an opportunity, if you wish, to grab my 7 free lead generation tools by either visiting leslibitel.com/lead-gen. That is the URL that you see in the middle of your screen there. Or you can choose to scan the code, the QR code that you see on the left side of your screen. Now, if you decide to go ahead and download these lead generation tools, I think they're going to help you regardless of where you're at in your entrepreneurial journey. And specifically, a few things that you're going to get include powerful list building strategies, which is absolutely imperative in the world of passive and leveraged income. So very important. You will get 10 surefire strategies to get referrals now, overlook client hotspots, how to generate more referrals from the medical community, and a few other goodies. So go ahead and scan that code if you wish and download those goodies for yourself. All right, so let's jump in. I'd like to talk about your private practice. So, obviously, each person here today is in a different place in the entrepreneurial business building journey. So, I want to acknowledge that way up front. That being said, most commonly as practitioners, we do tend to work within the traditional service delivery model, providing one-on-one services for our clients. And this is referred to as the fee-for-service model. This is where we work once and we're paid for our time. And make no mistake, one-on-one can be great in terms of the revenue, the ability to generate revenue for your business, and the ability to, really personalize your approach with each individual client. And it really is often the cornerstone of our work. It certainly was for me, and frankly, continues to be so in my particular case. I personally really enjoy my private work and just want to be clear, I have no intention of moving completely away from that model. Many of my clients still prefer one-on-one because, again, I can completely personalize their experience based on that particular client's unique set of goals, their practice, what it is they want to achieve. The caveat, though, is if you are only doing one-on-one in your private practice, very likely you're missing out on a pretty significant opportunity and potentially leaving revenue on the table. So what I want to do next is to just discuss some of those potential drawbacks of the one-on-one model that I just want you to be aware of. So first, it is essentially hours for dollars. So in this particular model, you're trading your time for money, usually in a 1-to-1 ratio. With the traditional one-to-one service delivery model, there is a dollar amount where you're eventually going to top out at. So you probably will get to the point where you just simply can't continue to increase your revenue by charging more for your services because the market just won't bear it. So you'll eventually max out on the number or the amount you can charge for your one-on-one work. And that happens regardless of whether you're in the cash or the insurance model. Number three, eventually you will most likely top out on billable hours because, again, there's only so many hours in the day where you can work. And obviously, time is one of your most valuable assets. So, the typical one to one model oftentimes results, this is another important consideration, sometimes it results in some burnout amongst healthcare practitioners. And I am curious to know if you can relate to this. In the work that I do, and I've been doing for the past 10 and a half years, I hear this very frequently where my practitioner clients tell me they're exhausted at the end of every day from seeing one on one clients stacked up one after the next, day after day. And that really can be tiring. I can relate to this. I know when I worked in my nutrition practice, I do remember feeling like, at the end of the day, it was kind of hard to talk, right? Because I had been talking all day, one client after the next, and I found that I was repeating a lot of that same content with each individual client all day long. I knew there had to be another way. I really knew there had to be. So the reality is, with these restrictions, those three restrictions that we highlighted, the end result is that your income will eventually hit a ceiling. There will be no obvious way to grow the business, again, because you have no more time to sell for one-on-ones. And again, you get to a point where you struggle to continue to raise your prices because you've essentially hit that top end of what your target market is willing and able to pay. So it can make you feel stuck. I know I felt that way for quite a while. Unless, so this is the ticket, guys. This is really what I want to talk to you about today. Unless you create leveraged and passive income streams. So today is all about creating leverage and passive income as a way for you to expand beyond the one-on-one model. And ultimately, the beauty of it is you're able to serve more people in a more time efficient manner. That's really what is so wonderful about the leveraged model. So, what exactly is leverage versus passive income? So, let's just talk about some of the nuances really quick so everybody's clear before we get into the nitty gritty of sales funnels. So, leverage income refers to being able to serve more people in any given period of time. Again, because we have a limited number of hours in a day, obviously we need to be able to utilize our time really, really effectively. So to maximize our time, we can leverage it by serving groups of people versus only one-on-one. And to be clear, I'm not suggesting that you just ditch one-on-one work unless you want to. I do have some practitioners that come to me and that's their goal, right? But most often what I'm seeing is that practitioners want a little variety, right? They've kind of hit those points where they feel like, oh my gosh, I'm really exhausted. I'm kind of stuck figuring out how to grow my practice. And that is an opportunity to build out some of those leverage and passive income streams. So the bottom line is you can have both. You can have one-on-one and some of these other programs in your private practice. So just case in point, really simple example, in our time together today, I'm able to reach many more people by offering this program to you via webinar versus, let's just say, teaching this content one person at a time, right? So that would really be difficult, if not impossible. So this webinar is an example of leveraging time and actually technology. And if, let's just say hypothetically, because I'm going to give you lots of examples today, I were charging for this content, I'd also be leveraging income and I'd potentially be able to make more revenue versus doing the one-on-one meetings. Potentially. So, the big takeaway that I want to emphasize here is leveraging really equates to working smarter, not harder. Okay. I know you've heard that before, but it really is the case with these leveraged income streams and ultimately allows you to make more revenue per any given hour as compared to what you'd make potentially serving one person at a time. So let's talk about passive income. So passive income refers to generating revenue via assets you've already created in your business, such as digital products, workshops, maybe a course. And generally speaking, we're talking about a standalone product that you create once, and then you're able to passively generate income by directing people to it on your website. All right. So I'm going to give you another example. So let's say hypothetically that I wanted to create some passive income, let's just say from the content I'm teaching today in this masterclass. So possibly, after it's over, maybe I would take the recording. Possibly I could, create like some downloadable written materials that accompany the recording and the video, maybe a workbook that goes along with the video. And then potentially I could bundle everything up together and sell it as a downloadable digital product on my website. And basically I created it once, I bundle it up and I sell it. But here's the key is I'm not actively showing up each time to deliver the content because it's passive, right? I create it once and then I'm done. The key though is you have to know how to sell, leverage, and passive products to be successful in this arena because you can make the most amazing program full of life-changing tools and support. Here's the deal. If you don't know how to package and sell it, it's going to be a real struggle. So that's what today's webinar is all about, how to create, market, and fill leveraged and sell passive income products. So today you're going to learn the truth about designing and filling lucrative leverage group programs, how to turn your expertise into exponential income, how to design a sales funnel so your prospects are effortlessly guided from finding you to buying from you. We're going to discuss 3 effective ways to design a group program that saves you time and generates leverage income. And then I believe you're going to be able to look at this information, think through it. It will help you decide which model is right for you. We are going to touch on how to build a thriving membership program. I get lots of questions about memberships designed to save you time. And of course, the end goal is to reach more people and to generate consistent monthly leverage income. And let's try to get rid of the burnout, right? And then the number one key to filling your successful online group or course with paying clients. And of course, many more tidbits in between. So just to give you a little backstory for those of you that don't know my journey and why I'm so passionate about this topic. So a few years back, I had a really nice private practice specializing in mindful eating. And then eventually I moved into specializing in integrative functional nutrition, specifically for neurological disorders, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, chronic migraines, those kind of health challenges. So I was very passionate about it, very excited about what I was able to accomplish and create in this private practice. But I was also hitting some of those limitations that I discussed earlier. I really had no more hours in the day to serve people. So I was full, which I know can be a great problem to have. I do want to acknowledge that. But because there was also an expected rate for my work, I felt like things had really topped out, right? My income had topped out, and I did not know how to grow from that point, right? At least not initially. And I have my 2 kiddos on the screen because, just as a reminder to myself, to go back in time, it was really important because I had 2 kids in high school, college right around the corner, tuition staring me in the face, right? I really, really needed to jumpstart their college tuition bank accounts, in all honesty. So I'm sure any of you parents that are in this situation or have been there, you know what I'm talking about, right? It is a really, really big deal. So what I realized, I needed a cash infusion, and I wanted and needed a cash infusion that was a higher amount than, a couple new clients would bring in, right? And again, I knew there had to be a better way, right? So I didn't want to keep, on the hamster wheel, so to speak. I knew there had to be a better way, just a better way to approach this business model. So I had a mentor. Oh, I actually always have mentors in my world at the time. She was wonderful. I turned to her. She had the obvious answer. And of course, no surprise, the answer was to bundle my expertise into a course that many people could take at the same time. So not only could I make exponentially more revenue from that, but the beauty is each participant would be making a smaller and easier investment as compared to what it would be to work with me privately. And I really, really love the idea of being able to serve more people, especially those that could not jump into my higher end programs. And I knew for the hours that I invested that hopefully my income would be higher than in the 1-to-1 hours with private clients alone. So I put my first program together at that point, decided on a price point of $497 for a 6-week program. again, I knew it was going to be really helpful to have something at a little lower price point that people could enter into to work with me, and that would bring in people who were out there and kind of waiting in the wings, but just couldn't initially jump in to like a private higher, more higher end or a higher end private program. So I do want to acknowledge that this was going to be beneficial to not only me, but also my community. And I was really passionate about that. So I'll share a few results with you. In my very first launch for a 6-week program at $497, I ended up bringing in about $32,000 in revenue, which let me tell you was an amazing way to kickstart my kids' college account. So I was really excited about that. And, the best part again is the strategy is a win-win. It did give me a way to serve those people that were either hesitant to jump right into one-on-one work, or maybe they just simply couldn't. They could not swing it. So this turned out to be a really good taste of my work that they could afford. And one of the best parts too that I don't want to forget to mention is many of these folks that did my 6-week course went on to do other programs with me, and some even moved into one-on-one coaching. And I do see this all the time as a benefit. So the program is not their only step. It's quite often for a high percentage of your people will end up being just a first step, and they'll want to continue working with you in some capacity. So the bottom line is I know you can do this. Okay. I know you can do a successful program launch, regardless of whether you want to leverage your time with groups, scale your business with online courses, or potentially create and sell passive income products. And I really want to just acknowledge my commitment to helping you achieve and just, have that leading edge so that you can incorporate these types of programs and even memberships as well. So we are going to talk about memberships today. I get lots of questions about that. This business model that we're going to discuss and really, break down into quite a bit of detail, I think will save you time. It will allow you to make a much bigger impact in the world by serving more people. And I do want to say, even if you're running functional labs, okay? Even if you're running labs, you can implement this model. All right, so let's jump in and talk about a very important concept. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this, and that is called the all important know, like, and trust factor. And the takeaway here is I want you to know that this is the very essence of a sales funnel. And this is a process through which your client eventually meets you or finds you, right? And they get to know get a sense of your brilliance and how valuable your material is. And then they're offered that perfect opportunity to purchase something from you. And at that point, they're probably going to be ready to purchase. That's the beauty. They already trust you because of their previous exposure to you. And this is why we do have to invest time warming up your audience before you ask them to buy. All right. Very, very important concept. And I will say that, in this world of leverage and passive income, way too many people out there expect others to buy from them cold. I see this quite a bit. And frankly, it's a big, big mistake. It just doesn't work well that way. People have to trust that you've got the goods, right? That they've already seen from you. What they've already seen from you is so powerful and helpful that a deeper dive with you is even going to be more wonderful. So again, the purpose of an effective sales funnel is to create a process whereby your audience gets to know, like, and trust you. And this primes them to move to the next phase and eventually to become buyers. Now, I'm going to walk you through several different paths to fill your services and courses. And I do want to be clear, this is known as a sales funnel. And I'm using these words paths and sales funnels interchangeably. They basically mean the same thing in this context. I do want you to know there's an infinite number of combinations that work. So this is definitely not a one size fits all. I'm not able to go through, it'd be impossible to go through every possible sales funnel. But I'm going to share with you some of the ones that are most common and frankly, the ones that I do believe really tend to work well. And again, it's to illustrate how the know, like, and trust factor is absolutely imperative, regardless of the specific sales funnel you choose to implement, and how it can bring that prospective client all the way to a purchase decision in less time. So here we have a very basic path. right? Path, i.e., sales funnel. At the top of the path, we're going to offer some kind of a freebie, like maybe a workbook or a video series or training. And from there, you're going to direct your viewer right to a well-designed and intriguing sales page describing your paid program with the opportunity to purchase right there. So in this example, the freebie created some trust, and then a well-written sales page, especially for, something at a lower price point, can often generate sales right then and there. So let's look at a variation, and I'm going to be digging in and giving you some really specific examples. Starting at the top, what if you're to offer some kind of a freebie like a workbook or a checklist, and from there you invite people into a deeper experience, such as like a 60-minute webinar? And you'd make that chock full of so many amazing and so much really good usable information and content. Plus they get to experience hearing you, listening to you, seeing you, and from there you would potentially direct them to a sales page to potentially purchase a medium-sized course or group program. So, for example, let's say I have an 8-week gut healing program. So, I'm going to get really specific here with an example. So, let's say I've got an 8-week gut healing program that focuses on the first of the 5 R's for gut healing, which, as many of you know, is remove. So, let's say I'm going to really dig in this 8-week program and focus on the remove phase. As the first step in the funnel, I might create a downloadable ebook. Let's say I decide to call it 5 Mega Mistakes You're Making That's Trashing Your Gut and Causing Fatigue and Brain Fog, and what to do instead that works. So the freebie download starts the process of educating your target audience on what they need why they need your paid program, and really starts to position you as the go-to expert. All right. Hopefully you're following me so far. Then let's say you did the webinar, the second step in your sales funnel. And let's say the title is something like this: Reclaim Your Energy and Vitality, the 5R framework for total gut restoration. So here you're going to give an overview of the entire 5R framework so they understand the bigger picture and where the remove step fits in. And on the webinar, you're maybe going to want to pitch the paid program. And let's say the paid program, and we're going to do this from the sales page, right? You see that as the last step in this particular funnel. But let's say your 8-week group series is called Gut Reset, Remove Harmful Triggers and Reclaim Your Health. So again, we're focused on just that remove phase for this particular, 6 or 8-week program. And in that webinar, you're going to do a pitch, right? You're going to pitch the paid program. You're going to give them an overview of your gut reset, remove harmful triggers and reclaim your health, why this is important. And you're going to ask the attendees to purchase or sign up for the paid program by directing them to a well-written sales page. Now, the beauty of this particular sales funnel, and just kind of how I've positioned it by specifically focusing on one step of 5, the remove phase in this particular example, is it really opens the door for folks to continue working with you. So they're going to, hopefully join your paid program. They're going to start to get results. They're going to start feeling better. You've already educated them on the fact that this is the first step in a journey. Chances are very likely that a percentage of these people are going to take you up on an offer to continue their healing journey with you. Now, let's look at another model. Another way you could go is to start by offering your community, a wonderful webinar or masterclass, and then invite attendees into a deep dive one-on-one conversation with you about your group program or even your one-on-one program. So this is a really interesting way to go as well. So a one-on-one conversation after a webinar or a presentation is a very viable way to engage people in why this course or program would be a great fit and meet their needs. So let me share in this example, this comes from my own business. So I'm going to try to share a variety of different examples to really drive these points home for you. All right. So if you are familiar, maybe you are, maybe you're not, I have a program called the 6-Figure Biz Academy. And so what I do, this is a 5-month, really deep dive business building experience for practitioners specifically. It's really positioned as that business training that you just didn't get in school, right? We're all taught, myself included, to be really good practitioners. But let's be honest, we're kind of left hanging in the wind when it comes to those business skills, those entrepreneurial skills to set us up for success in private practice. So, this particular program, let's just call it the Academy, is really designed to fill that gap, right? That business building gap that we all need in order to be successful. All right, so in terms of the funnel, so in this example, I do require a one-on-one conversation with any person who's interested in signing up for this particular program. So on my webinar, instead of asking my audience just to go to the sales page, click enroll, and get yourself signed up, I don't do that. I do send them to a sales page so they can get a sense of the program and if it's a good fit for them. But the call to action is to click the button to set up a one-to-one conversation with either myself or someone from my team so that we can have a nice chat. We can learn more about the person's, business, what they're looking for, what their goals are, and together decide if the academy is the next good step for them in their trajectory. So I do want to be clear, instead of asking people just to go to a sales page and click enroll, I'm asking them to sign up for a conversation with me or someone from my team. And, it's really a no pressure, no risk kind of a conversation. Because believe me, we have told folks that, honestly, based on everything you're sharing, maybe this thing over here would be a better fit, right? So we're really, really honest. So that is an option for you as well. Okay. So instead of just sending them to a sales page, you could invite them into a deeper conversation where either you do those calls or maybe you have someone from your team that handles that part. That could be a great option as well. And so that is, what we do. And I do see a lot of success with this particular model amongst my practitioner clients. Again, where you insert a conversation with a potential buyer before enrolling them into the program. And I will say it's especially helpful if you have a kind of a higher end group program or even again, it could be a one-to-one in this case. But generally speaking, if it is a higher dollar price tag for the program, most likely people are going to want to talk to you or someone from your team just to ensure that it's a good fit. So I really do love this model. Now I'm going to give you a specific example with one of my clients, and we'll call her Gina. So Gina is a master degree nutritionist and a functional nutrition chef, which is a really cool combination in Southern Cal. She uses this model to fill her high touch signature group program. So she has a signature group program that she offers for $997. And so first she offers a free event where her audience gets a ton of value. They get to know her and really get a sense of her expertise and style. She promotes the free event like crazy so she can use it also as an opportunity to build her list and to drum up lots of excitement. And then during the free event, she will talk about the next step in the trajectory for those who really want to achieve the results. And that's how it's positioned, right? Like the free event's great, but if you really want to nail it, this is the next step for you. And so that's how she positions it. And, it's as a mechanism for her audience to get the support, accountability, and handholding, in her case, to finally lose weight and feel amazing while eating simple, delicious, chef created recipes. So instead of asking them to purchase the program directly from her sales page, again, she's inviting them into a 30-minute complimentary chat where they can ask questions and really explore if this is a good fit. So the cool thing about what's happening in Gina's world is that she does have a very nicely full practice where she offers a VIP level one-on-one program with a price tag of $29.97. Okay. So it's a really nice, robust program charging $29.97 per person for one-on-one work. So her goal now is to focus on generating leverage income via her groups. And she's offering this group program on a quarterly basis. So she does want to start to pivot by working in more groups and over time potentially decrease her private client work and potentially even make it more exclusive than it already is. So the good news is, at last time I checked, she is well on her way to achieving her income goal, and she is earning 15 to 25,000 on this program alone each and every quarter. So do the math. That's a nice extra chunk of change, right? And this is in addition to her private work. So this is going to allow her to make, again, her private work even more exclusive. She's already created the content for her group. So it's pretty much a wash, rinse, and repeat kind of scenario. And of course, the good news for Gina is she's on her way to adding an extra 100K per year to her income by doing the work that she loves. And let me tell you, she loves teaching in a group format. So that's what's possible because I've seen it happen over and over. So let's talk about this next funnel. Here's a model with an extra step put in. So here we've got a freebie, then we have a masterclass or webinar, and then a one-on-one conversation. So this year, I decided to use this model to launch my own six-figure biz academy. So prior to that, I just done like a webinar and then invited people into a conversation. Well, this year I thought, you know what? I'm going to try this three-step sales funnel instead and see how that works. So I'm going to be really specific on exactly what I offered here just to illustrate how it went. So in this example, the freebie that I created was a downloadable infographic. So guys, infographics work really, really well. And it was entitled The Six-Figure Cash Flow Formula. And it was a really nice infographic, quite comprehensive. It gave my audience a big picture snapshot of 8 critical steps they need to take in their business to maximize their time and revenue. Then, as I mentioned, everyone who downloaded the free infographic, they were automatically invited to my 3-day live series. Now, I have a webinar. You see webinar on your screen. What I want to point out here is webinar could be interchangeable with even a multi-day webinar, which is essentially what I ended up doing, right? So I did the ebook, the nice, beautiful infographic. Everyone who signed up to get the downloadable infographic, they were automatically invited to the next phase of the sales funnel, which was a live 3-day, we'll just call it a 3-day webinar or masterclass. So I did the masterclass. It was 3 days and it was called Creating Your Multiple Streams of Income Plan, where I taught them my business planning tool, which I call the Profit Pyramid. And we use this model for helping everyone in the group understand how to build out their different levels of leverage offers, everything from online educational programs all the way up to hybrid groups, okay, escalating price points. And by the way, the ticket, just as a sidebar, for those of you that are doing a lot of labs, really a hybrid group is really where it's at. Um, Hybrid groups would be kind of a combination of maybe some one-on-one, maybe they in a 3-month period or 5-month or 6-month, however long you make the program. Let's just say you meet as a group every so often, like, maybe twice a month, you have like group Q&A and coaching. Let's say every person gets a once a month one-on-one session. This is where you can do your lab debriefing. And let's say that you've got some pre-recorded content as well. So that would be like a true hybrid. Those work great, especially if you are someone that really wants to make sure that you're integrating that personalized level of care. So anyway, so this is what I did. So I offered the 3-day live series and taught them some really, really great skills. And then I invited my audience to step in to signing up for a conversation with myself or someone from my team, again, to, really get clear on their goals and help them evaluate if the academy would be a good next step. So that works really, really well. Okay, here's another one. What about doing a 5-day Facebook challenge? And by the way, I say Facebook, but nowadays it doesn't have to be on Facebook. It really doesn't. It could be, on Zoom, but it's still kind of positioned as a challenge. So you could do a challenge of some sort, like a daily challenge over a 5-day period, and then invite people straight into looking at your sales page that promotes your amazing paid program. So I'll give you an example with my client, Sandra. So she does this multiple times a year. She promotes her multi-day Facebook challenge. She calls it Get Your Weight Loss Back on Track After Summer. So she has different versions of this. The one that she just ran in the fall is about getting your weight loss back on track after summer. And then she does an overview of her 6-week paid program, which is called Fuel and Train to the Max. And I believe this is a 6-week program and it's paid. So what I really want you to take away is there's many paths, and sometimes indefinite in terms of the way you can combine different elements. But in each case, there's a logical path from one step to the next where the person is ultimately invited to step into a paid experience with you. So my client Sandra really has had a lot of success with this particular funnel. And again, she has different names that she uses throughout the year, but essentially it's using this particular sales funnel. And she does start with, in another example, she starts with a 5-day Facebook challenge called Crush the Sugar Cravings, which is an awesome name, really a great program. So this is a complimentary 5-day Facebook challenge. And this particular challenge leads to her 6-week long paid program called Body Reboot Blueprint. Okay, so just some specific examples there. Now, let's step into some different design models for your group programs, shall we? So, one type of program is an open enrollment program. Another that you might offer, is evergreen. And then a third type is called, it's a membership program essentially. So, and this is an ongoing type of monthly recurring type of program. But I want to give you an overview into these three common models just so you have an understanding of how they work and how you can set these up and ultimately determine if or which one is a good model for you. All right. So let's first dig into the open/closed enrollment model. And that would be like an upcoming live course. So let's say that you will start on a particular date and time. So that's really the essence is you start on a particular date and time. Everyone in the group starts together they matriculate through the program at the same time and they go through the process together. So that's the big thing. It's a kind of program where you might launch maybe once or twice a year, but in between, it's just simply not happening, right? So this kind of program would have live elements. In fact, the whole program could be delivered live, or you could mix it up and have some pre-recorded modules with some live interactive Q&A. But the key takeaway is that there's a start date and a stop date for everybody. So let's look at some specific examples. So let's say you're wanting to have a course about healing your gut in 8 weeks. Okay. So it's a live 8-week group program and it's transformational. People really need it and love it. So in this example, it's a live course that starts on a particular day. So it's not a home study. So just hypothetically, I threw a date out there. And then when it's over, it's over. It's still a one-to-many leverage model. So one trainer to many participants, which again equates to bigger impact and potentially more revenue for you. Okay, so one group goes through together. All right, so I'm going to give you some bonus insight here for you on what makes an open/closed enrollment course different from what we're going to talk about next, which is going to be an evergreen offer where you're promoting a product that they can take or buy anytime year round. So for a model like this, you would do a live launch, right? So basically a promotion period where you would offer maybe a freebie, maybe a complimentary webinar. Like you could pick from one of those funnels we've discussed that leads people to the sales page for your program. And in this model, the nice thing is you can offer some pretty cool incentives. And that is, in my opinion, one of the benefits. One kind of incentive is called an early bird savings. And this means if people register by a certain date, they get the special price, which is very motivating because it helps people stop procrastinating on their decision. Another kind of incentive that works well is called a fast enrollment bonus. And this means that you might offer a special item or an opportunity for maybe a special workshop or something like that for the first X number of people that register. So it could be a special training, it could be a one-on-one consult with you, right? Which is super, super valuable. So the key takeaway is that this is not contingent upon people registering quickly, or excuse me, let me rephrase that. It's not contingent on a date, but it is contingent upon people registering quickly after the course is announced, because after, let's say, the first 10 people enroll, the fast enrollment bonus is gone, right? So the nice thing about this model and being able to offer these bonuses is it does tend to create that sense of scarcity and urgency, which are proven ways to help someone make an empowered decision without it just falling off their to-do list. Well, let's now talk about evergreen. So evergreen programs, what this means is generally speaking, it's a passive income program that is possibly pre-recorded and someone can buy anytime. That's the typical model. But evergreen in of itself, what that means is you can buy it and go through the program pretty much anytime. So it's not like a hard start and a hard finish like the model we just talked about, right? So it's typically what we would say is rolling admission. So you can sign up anytime. So generally, I would say an evergreen program is available at all times, but in all honesty, I don't want to complicate matters too much, but you could, if you wanted, have a semi-regular live element with this model. And I do see that more and more. So for example, I know people who have like a main course that can be bought anytime. So again, evergreen, and they end up deciding to add a live element like a 90-minute Q&A call to anyone who's ever bought the evergreen program. Or what I'm seeing more now, instead of anytime you can, jump into a Q&A for the life of however long you're offering the program. What I see more is where you can access a certain number of live Q&A sessions after your purchase, right? So for example, I recently purchased an evergreen course like this, and I was told I could join 3 monthly live calls to get my questions answered. Once I missed those live calls, or if I missed them, too bad, right? I mean, maybe I could have, I don't know how she would have reacted if I would have said, "Hey, I missed it." But anyway, generally speaking, that is more common now. And I would say that's probably a little bit better to limit the number of live Q&A calls that they have access to. So that would be my recommendation. But it still constitutes an evergreen program. And P.S., you don't need the live component. I just offer it as an example because some people choose to do that. So let's say what you're wanting to sell is, again, let's say a course about healing your gut. But in this example, it's a paid course that happens to be pre-recorded. The modules are delivered over a period of 8 weeks. It starts whenever the person decides to purchase. And you might have blog posts out there driving people to the sales page, or maybe you have created a pre-recorded webinar on your website that leads people to this paid program. So again, do think about those sales funnels. Just because you create it and put it on your website doesn't mean it's going to sell. You got to have a sales funnel. So another possible option is, like anytime you do a podcast interview or a talk, you're mentioning your evergreen program and you're sending people to that page. Or a really common strategy is, if you wish, you could run like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, some kind of paid ads and drive people to the free webinar. I do recommend you got to have something free in there, guys. Okay. I don't recommend running Facebook ads to a paid product. Not a good use of your ad spend. So you could drive traffic to the free webinar and then on the webinar, send them to the sales page, just like we've been talking about. And the idea is that the sales page is up all the time and you can find different ways and times to promote the program for people to enroll when it serves their schedule. So this is also called rolling admissions, which I'm sure you're familiar with. So let me just talk a little bit about how an evergreen program can work, some of the steps involved, so you can evaluate if this is a fit for you. So once your client has registered for and enjoyed your free material, your workbook checklist, webinar series, or a combination of any of the above, just remember we do need some kind of free resource, something that's really juicy that is going to develop that all important know, like, and trust. So that's the key. Then, so they sign up for the free thing. Then you move into a series of pre-written follow-up emails to promote your paid program. And you can also offer these nice incentives to purchase, right? And right there, it directs the person to the sales page to buy. Sometimes it depends on your technology. In all honesty, you can still use early bird and other special bonuses, and it's all tracked through technology. So it's just kind of a tech thing, right? To be able to offer these special bonuses on an evergreen program. But I don't want to overcomplicate it. I just want to give you an overview right now of how this works. So I don't want to go into a rabbit hole there with technology. So you have to remember to always drive people to your free resource and materials, like I said earlier, through a variety of different strategies, whether that's social media, blogging, doing paid ads, right? You have to drive traffic to that free thing to get people into the sales funnel. Okay. And then generally, especially if it's all pre-recorded, once your little funnel is set up, you're pretty much good to go. So benefits, you can drive people to the sequence at any time. uh, you know, from guest speaking, articles, videos, blogs, interviews, like any kind of marketing that you're doing, you can leverage those strategies and drive traffic your to this evergreen program to generate sales. And again, you do have an option to run paid ads as well. So I do want to spend some time with you on a membership program. This is really becoming very common. I have lots and lots of questions about how to set up a membership program. So, a membership is an ongoing group program that continues indefinitely. So, it typically goes month to month with no end, where your clients can stay participants pretty much as long as they want. And the nice thing about this model is that you can generate a nice, consistent monthly income in this model. You may want to offer a prepaid special. So, just kind of a little side tip. So, let's say for a 1 year membership with a particular bonus or discount as a way to ensure a sense of longevity with many of your members. So, I'm going to give you an example in my own business and how we do that. So typically people can join it anytime year round. And as you add more calls and trainings and handouts to the membership, you're going to develop a library that grows and becomes more valuable over time. And the membership can include, so really common question is, I want to do a membership, but what do I put in it? So it really can include any combination of elements, such as maybe a monthly Zoom call for a group Q&A, or even presenting relevant content in that Zoom call. We can add a second element, which might be some kind of exclusive members only content, maybe a special newsletter or like a step-by-step PDF or recipes or meal plans designed for a special medical condition. So I've seen this model work really well in actually several functional medicine niches, including IBD and weight management, just to give you a couple of examples. So it really can work well. So again, bottom line is this: you can make it anything you want. You can include some live content like Zoom calls or none, right? There's no have tos here. It really depends on how you want to do it. Um, in my business, I'll tell you how I've decided to organize my own membership. So I have a membership called the Income Accelerator Mastermind. And in this particular program, we do 2 live calls each month. So, one call, the first call of the month, is focused on business strategy, and the second live Zoom call each month is focused on tech. And this is what we call a tech talk. And so, really, really valuable, right? 2 super valuable live calls every single month for everybody. Additionally, we do include a Facebook group, and the goal is to help build that sense of community and also an additional mechanism to ensure that everyone gets their questions answered. We do offer a special price. So basically, if you sign up for 12 months, I'm going to give you 2 months free. So that's the incentive to sign up for a longer period of time. So I have really seen this work well for multiple niches in the health and wellness industry. So definitely something to consider. So I came up with an example for you. So let's pretend your membership is called Thrive After 50, Post-Menopause Wellness Circle. And let's say it's an ongoing month-to-month program where every single month you add new topics and counsel and training around various important wellness topics for women who are struggling with, for example, body composition changes, fatigue, low energy, gut issues, labs that have gone off the rails, and of course, brain fog. You can join, let's just say hypothetically, you can join anytime. And let's just say the price point that you've landed on, at least initially, is $47 a month. And we call this the founders members special pricing. Okay. So you can really kind of position it that way. And anyone that comes in and joins the membership early gets this special price of $47 a month. And let's say, the plan is to raise it up to 97, but those people that came in early get to stay at 47. So that's a really nice incentive for folks. All right. So let's say in the membership, you've got 2 live calls, one for group coaching and Q&A. And let's say the second call each month is focused on educational content, maybe cooking demos, or maybe, webinars on relevant topics. And let's say they also get access to special meal planning and recipe software so they can create their own meal plans based on your nutrition prescription. And they get access to all past recordings and handouts within the library. So, pretty compelling, right? And you could even delegate, kind of depending on how your practice is set up, you could delegate one or maybe even both live calls to someone else in your practice, right? Maybe a health coach. So, as an example, I do have a client, Elizabeth, in New York City. She's got a really great membership program. She calls it the WLT Warriors, which stands for Weight Loss Transformation Warriors. And you can check her out, her website at weightlosstransformations.com. But she does really well with that particular program because it's consistent and it's really nice, regular, consistent monthly income. So women can join anytime. And in this example, again, the program might include 2 live calls with you. It might be, again, I think the takeaway, you can set it up however you want. You can have 1 live call, 2 live calls, 0 live calls. There's nothing in stone. You get to offer what you want. I do know some people who want no live calls, and the crux of their content is, they get like their members get like special downloadable written content every month, and that's really the main benefit. So you get to do you, okay? So, but generally, this is what I most commonly see: 1 or 2 live calls plus some kind of access to educational library that really tends to build over time. All right. Filling a membership. Let's just chat about this. So, you're going to need early adopters. So, you want to start with a reasonably sized group of people so that there's some interaction in a sense of community, right? So, this means you might even end up inviting some current clients, maybe some people for free, potentially as a bonus. Nothing wrong with that. Or maybe some folks for a reduced rate, just so you can kick things off with a decent sized group. Then you might do what's called a beta launch, right? Nothing wrong with a beta launch where you offer initial members, again, back to this founder's incentive. Basically here you're locking in a special low rate for life in exchange for them signing up early. You can also use some of these fast enrollment bonuses in your sequence that we discussed earlier. So let's say somebody downloads a freebie, they get a follow-up page or follow-up email inviting them to join the membership. And if they do so within a certain period of time, they might get some other special bonuses, right? Other incentives just to kind of help them to make a decision. And then lastly, you're going to maybe want to look at empowering some of your superstars in the group, right? People that are really participatory, and maybe move some of those folks into group moderators eventually. So just a thought. All right. So another thing to consider, just like with an evergreen course, you're always going to want to be driving people to that program, right? So it it doesn't rely on a start date, right? Unless you decide, like there's a lot of different nuances that you can approach, but generally the membership model I most commonly see is it's open year round, it's rolling admissions, it doesn't rely on a start date unless you yourself decide you're going to use an open/closed enrollment model, which is an option. Okay, just want to be clear about that. But the bottom line is you do need to be driving traffic from your free thing, whether it's giving talks, interviews, blog posts, whatever you're doing marketing wise, you want to be driving traffic to that membership or to that free thing that kicks off the whole sales funnel. All right, what is the number one strategy to ensure you have a successful program? Well, it might sound obvious, but the number one thing is you got to know what your audience actually wants. So very important. So you want to look at what what is their most pressing and urgent need? That's what you want to build your topic around. Okay. Really cannot overemphasize that. You don't want like some obscure topic that people are like, yeah, that'd be nice, but whatever. No, don't do that. That is the number one biggest mistake I see. You want to be sure that your topic for whatever program you're doing, it must solve an urgent problem. How do you know? Well, you can begin to interview people, listen, go into Facebook groups. There's all kinds of things. But as an example, when I first launched my again, my very first group program, that 6 week program, I did start to interview my audience. I had little Zoom calls with folks in my audience just to really try to get more clear on what their biggest challenges were. And I began to pay really close attention, just looking around, really listening. And I was able to identify at that time the common theme I kept hearing was, Lesli, I want to do high-end one-on-one programs, but I'm scared people are going to say no. Or I'm trying to do it and people are saying no. So what that told me is they're struggling to enroll clients into their higher end, their higher ticket programs and packages. So urgent need, really clear in that case, was to help them turn their consultations into actual paying clients. And this is how really my one of my more successful courses was born, called Supercharge Your Sales System. And this was all about helping my clients understand all the different steps in the entire sales process and to be really, really confident and comfortable in having those oftentimes complimentary, sometimes paid strategy sessions or discovery calls. So the whole entire 6 week, we take a deep dive on that. So you must figure out what your audience desperately needs and wants by listening to them, possibly interviewing them, visiting Facebook groups and observing what people are saying. And this would be, maybe specific Facebook groups that cater to your particular specialization. So you want to do your homework and you want to offer a program on the topic around whatever people need solved now. Okay. So again, it really speaks to that. What is it? What is the topic that is their most urgent need? Okay. What are they laying in bed at night just worrying about and wishing would be different? Okay. Sometimes the topic that you think in your head is going to be super, super important and relevant is not the same as what they want. And that's where the big disconnect sometimes happens. So you have to take off your clinical thinking cap and just put it to one side for a moment and put yourself in your patient or your client's shoes. What do they want? What do they wish were different? And that, if you can identify it, you are golden. Seriously. Okay. So please don't skip it. All right. So as we start to wrap up, I do want to remind you again that this is truly the know, like, and trust is truly the ticket to filling your group program, your passive income offers, and your leveraged program offers. So you really want to make sure that you've thought this through. It doesn't have to be a super complicated sales funnel, but the key is we have to develop the know, like, and trust before we ask people to invest. That is one of the key takeaways. All right. So we serve our audience typically through no cost resources, a gazillion ways you can do that. Um, you know, we've touched on many ebooks, reports, infographics, webinars, challenges, 3-day live events, a gazillion ways you can do that. And then you invite them into the next logical step, which would be your paid program. All right. So this is the ticket. In addition to making sure your overarching topic for your paid program really meets a specific urgent need that your client has, not necessarily you, but your client, your audience. So if you do those two things, I really think you're going to be in very good shape. All right. So quick reminder, if you want to download those 7 free lead gen tools, go ahead and scan or just go to lesliebitel.com/lead gen. And also, I want to just invite you, if you would like any kind of support, I would love to learn more about you and your business, your aspirations, even discuss some of the challenges that you may be experiencing. Let's have a chat and perhaps, have a conversation around if and how I can potentially help you move forward. That's what I do. That's my passion. And I would welcome the opportunity to chat with you. So you see the scannable code on your screen. If you want to go ahead and scan that, that will take you to my website, in particular, my one-on-one page on my website. So if you would prefer, you can just visit me at lesliebitel.com and just learn a little bit more about my services, or feel free to scan and check out let's set up a chat, right? So if you follow the scan, it'll take you to one of my pages in my site, and all you have to do is click one of the buttons that says, let's chat or let's get started, one of those buttons, and it'll take you um, to the opportunity to set up a conversation with me. So, again, if I can help you in any way, I just want to say, please don't hesitate to reach out. All right. I'm here to help. All right, everybody. So, thank you so very much. I know this was a lot of material that we covered, but I do genuinely hope that it gave you a solid foundation for how you can successfully be successful in this arena of passive and leveraged income. So hopefully it gives you a really good grounding and gets you thinking about how you can move forward and really move yourself into generating leverage and passive income in your business. And again, don't forget, one of the big advantages, you're going to be able to make a bigger difference in the world by serving more people. All right, everybody. So thank you again. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll look forward to chatting with some of you and seeing you next time. All right, bye for now.
For any questions or issues you may have, please contact Evexia Diagnostics by email at info@evexiadiagnostics.com or by phone 5 days a week at extended hours, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time at 888-852-2723. Thank you, Leslie, for this informative presentation. Thank you all again for joining us for this webinar event. Until next time, from everyone at Evexia Diagnostics, stay healthy, stay safe, and we wish you all the best in your pathway to wellness.